Hi, my name is Jude Benavides, and I'm an Associate Professor of Environmental Sciences here at the University of Texas at Brownsville. I graduated from St. Joseph Academy here in '88. I got my Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering with an environmental concentration from the University of Notre Dame. Then I was an officer in the military, active duty for 6 years, and reserve for an additional 6 years. I finished as a lieutenant commander in the Naval Reserves. Then I came back to Texas and got my Master of Science and my doctorate in Environmental Science and Engineering. My position here in the environmental science is that of a hydrologist, and that's my background. And hydrology is the study of water, and it's a very broad field. It encompasses everything from general water resources, looking at amounts of water, both for public consumption, for agriculture and irrigation, what's happening in the natural hydrologic cycle. And the state of Texas, along with the University of Texas system, has identified water resources as a prime area of prime importance for research for South Texas and the rest of Texas. And what I have been working towards initially is focusing on basically our backyard laboratory we have here, which are these areas, the resacas, the Arroyo Colorado, the Lower Laguna Madre, the Bahia Grande, and even the Gulf of Mexico. But my hope is to join with other universities in UT system, and we're working on that right now, to start looking at the water picture as a whole throughout the state of Texas. I've been fortunate to have to be chair of the Arroyo Colorado Watershed Partnership Steering Committee, and that has really given me a great opportunity to get in touch with a whole host of stakeholders in the Arroyo Colorado watershed. Lately, students have been looking at, working on 2 specific grants. One has been collecting calibration data for a water quality model that will look at helping us identify what are the most efficient measures we can take to improve water quality in the arroyo. And another very interesting one is called bacterial source tracking, in which we are collecting water samples, and those water samples are then analyzed for not only their E. coli content, but then we ship those water samples off to a partnering agency, and that partnering agency then identifies the DNA sequence in that E. coli and will allow us to identify where that E. coli came from. The second project that I've been working on is the Brownsville area resacas. And that is, right now, has been largely partnering with the Brownsville Public Utilities Board and the City of Brownsville, as well as United Brownsville, and looking at assisting them in the dredging of resacas. This is something that our Brownsville, the resacas here in the Brownsville area, since they are no longer used for agricultural irrigation purposes, and they're no longer connected directly to the Rio Grande, they accumulate sediment over years, roughly at the rate of anywhere from ½ an inch to an inch of sediment a year. And that sediment needs to be removed. If we don't remove that sediment, the resacas essentially fill up with silt and clay and or trash in some cases. And we have no room to store flood water when it rains, which means if we don't dredge them, we're going to have a worsening flood problem. We have no room to store extra water. When there is extra water in the river for drinking purposes, we have no room to store it. Our reservoirs are filled to capacity, and there are many opportunities where we have opportunities to pump more water from the river because we are the last user of water, the last big user of water in the Rio Grande. Fishing, kayaking, and boating. In some cases, maybe in the future, we can return to swimming in the resacas. They're not contact recreation safe now, but the goal is to help restore them to that level to where we can at least enjoy them from an ecotourism standpoint.